Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
I appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? I'm Ryan. Welcome to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So today, Chuck Clark had a press conference at the Jets, and a reporter was asking him kind of what happened in Baltimore, and he took some shots, in my opinion. Nothing too new from what he was saying last offseason when he admitted that he demanded a trade. I was just a little confused by some of the comments he was making. He said he's wanted out of there for 2 years. We didn't do it last year. We did it this offseason. We traded him to the Jets for a 7th-round pick. The reporter asked, why'd you want out? And he said, it was the situations and the positions that they put me in and the things that were said to me that I felt disrespected. And you can go watch the clip. I posted the clip on my Twitter, the Flock Rundown. You can probably go to the Jets, and it's floating around everywhere. I also watched the full press conference to see if I was kind of taking it out of context, but I'm not. That's what he said. That's what he meant. He said the Ravens put him in a situation where he felt disrespected, and that there were things said to him that he felt disrespected by. Now, I don't know what was said specifically behind closed doors by the coaches or Eric DeCosta during potential negotiations or whatever it may be. Obviously, we don't know what was said behind closed doors, so I kind of got to leave that alone. If something super disrespectful was said to him behind closed doors, then I get it. But what I'm confused by is this guy was one of the leaders of our defense for years, was a starter every single year, wore the green dot on his helmet. How is that being put in a situation where you feel disrespected? That's where I'm confused. He's a 6th-round pick, proved to his teammates and coaches that he belongs, became a starter for years on the Ravens. I mean, all respect in the world to Chuck Clark. I love Chuck Clark. But how did the Ravens put him in a situation where he was disrespected? This guy was a starting safety for us for years. If it's the Kyle Hamilton thing, well, Chuck Clark wanted out. Chuck Clark said that he felt disrespected. He demanded a trade. The Ravens drafted Kyle Hamilton and are planning to move on. Kyle Hamilton was best player available in the draft. That's their draft strategy the majority of the time. We got Kyle Hamilton, who, yes, plays the same position. But we held on to Chuck Clark for another year. Chuck Clark got a ton of playing time. He was not put in a situation that was disrespectful. If I'm missing a point here, let me know. But I feel like there's like some bitterness on his end due to failed contract negotiations or something. I think him and the Ravens were trying to talk about an extension, and maybe the Ravens said, you're worth this value, and he thinks he's worth this value. Fair. That happens all the time in the NFL. That doesn't mean that you're being put in a situation where you feel disrespected. I understand as the player that might be a thought that you may have. You know, I really thought I was worth this amount, and the team doesn't. But that's business. That's the NFL. That's who you work for. That's what this is. It's a business at the end of the day. We all watch it as fans for the entertainment and love of sports, but there's a major multi-billion-dollar business behind here, and teams have a salary cap that they have to stay under and have to make smart decisions. And if you think you're worth this, but they can't really fit you in and they don't see your value there to sacrifice other players, they're going to offer you lower. And if you feel disrespected by that, then that's on you. I mean, that's just how business works. So there could have been more said that I'm not aware of, and that's why he feels that way, if they were like attacking him personally or something. But I don't hear that very often from anybody in the organization. I think this is just a little bitterness from not getting the extension and then the Ravens moving on, drafting Kyle Hamilton, who's going to replace him. All the years I put in, they're just moving on. But that's how it's always going to go. It's not personal. This guy was one of the leaders of our defenses for years. So the Ravens are not putting you in a bad position. You had all the opportunity in the world, and you did show out. He put in great years. The Jets are getting a great player. They have a great team. I'm rooting for Chuck Clark. I'm not rooting for the Jets to do better than Baltimore, but, like, I'm rooting for Chuck Clark. I love Chuck Clark. He's great in the community, baller on the field, works hard. Nothing bad to say about him, but these comments caught me off guard. And maybe I'm off base. Maybe I'm taking them too personal as a Ravens fan or something, but I don't see how we put him in a position where he felt disrespected. He had all the opportunity in the world until he demanded a trade. And then we still played him for a year. But he got a ton of playing time and a ton of opportunity and was one of the staples of this team. So I think this just comes down to money. I think he's using the words disrespected because we didn't financially meet him where he wanted to be. But that's this business. That's going to keep happening. That's going to happen to everyone. Everyone's got a number in their head. I can't see how we put him in a situation where he was disrespected. But like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm taking this differently. I watched the whole press conference just to make sure I had context. There's not any more context. This is what he said. This is what he meant. And he kind of said that last offseason, that he demanded a trade, but he's going to play it out. And shout out to him for playing last year, too. That's not easy. If you want to see what he said about the Ravens, I put that clip on my Twitter, the Flock Rundown. But let me know your thoughts about it. Maybe you completely agree with Chuck Clark and feel he was disrespected. Maybe I'm off. I don't know. Have a great day, guys, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. I will see you guys next time.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.